I love watching my Dorothy bake. After 42 years of marriage, there's something about seeing her hands work the dough that still makes my chest tighten with affection. That Thursday afternoon, I'd finished my volunteer shift at the Veterans Center 3 hours early and decided to surprise her. I imagined walking through our kitchen door, wrapping my arms around her waist, maybe stealing a taste of whatever she was making. But when I pulled into our driveway in Scottsdale, I didn't hear the familiar hum of her standing mixer or smell anything baking. Instead, I heard crying. My Dorothy was sitting on our front porch steps, her face buried in her hands, shoulders shaking. In 42 years, I'd seen her cry exactly 4 times. Once when her mother passed. Once when our daughter Emily was born. Once when I came home from my second deployment. And once when we buried our stillborn son. This was the 5th time. My hand froze on the car door handle. Through our living room window I could see movement. Shadows. Then I heard it. Laughter. Loud, careless laughter coming from inside my own home. I recognized one of the voices immediately. My son, Marcus. I got out of the car quietly, feet crunching on the gravel driveway. Dorothy didn't even look up. When I reached her, I knelt down and touched her shoulder. My love, what's wrong? She flinched like I'd burned her. Her eyes were red and swollen, mascara streaking down her cheeks. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out except a choked sob. Dorothy, I said, keeping my voice steady even though my heart was hammering. Talk to me. I can't, she whispered. I can't do this anymore, Edward. I can't. The laughter from inside got louder. I heard Marcus say something, and then a woman's voice, sharp and excited, responded. Vanessa, my daughter-in-law. What are they doing in there? I asked. Dorothy looked toward the door like it might bite her. They said you'd understand. They said it's for our own good. They said. Her voice broke again. I stood up. Something cold and hard was forming in my chest, like ice crystallizing around my heart. I'd spent 26 years in the Army. I'd been through 2 tours overseas. I knew what it felt like when something was very, very wrong. I walked to the front door. Through the frosted glass panel, I could see 3 figures in our living room. Marcus, Vanessa, and someone else I didn't recognize, a man in a suit. When I opened the door, the laughter stopped. Marcus was standing by our fireplace, holding what looked like a champagne glass. Vanessa was on our couch, legs crossed, looking pleased with herself. The man in the suit was at our dining table with papers spread out in front of him. Dad, Marcus's face went pale. You're home early. I live here, I said quietly. What's going on? Vanessa stood up, smoothing her designer dress. She always dressed expensively, even though as far as I knew, she'd never held a job longer than 6 months. Edward, we were just taking care of some paperwork. Nothing to worry about. I looked at the man at our table. He was already gathering the papers, sliding them into a leather portfolio. Who are you? Richard Hoffman, the man said, extending his hand. I'm a financial consultant. I didn't shake it. What kind of paperwork? Marcus stepped between us. Dad, let's sit down and talk about this like adults. I am sitting down, I said, even though I was standing. It was an old Army phrase. It meant I wasn't going anywhere. What? Paperwork. Vanessa's smile tightened. We've been discussing your retirement situation. Marcus has been worried about you and Dorothy living alone at your age. This house is too big. The maintenance, the property taxes, the risk of falls or medical emergencies when no one's around. We're 64 and 62, I said, not 90. Exactly, Marcus jumped in. That's why now is the perfect time to make smart decisions, before there's a crisis. Mr. Hoffman here specializes in senior living transitions. He's helped us identify an excellent assisted living facility that we're not going to assisted living. Not assisted living exactly, Vanessa corrected, her voice taking on that patronizing tone she used when she thought she was being clever. It's more like an active retirement community. Beautiful place. They have golf, social activities, a full medical staff on site. And what happens to this house? I asked. The 3 of them exchanged glances. Marcus swallowed hard. We would sell it. The equity would more than cover your costs at the community, plus give you a comfortable cushion for... How much of a cushion? Another glance. Mr. Hoffman cleared his throat. The property value is estimated at approximately $850,000. After paying off the remainder of your mortgage and covering the first year at Mesa Verde Heights costs $90,000 a year, I said. I'd seen the brochures. One of my buddies from the VA had been looking at places after his wife died. For both of us, that's $180,000 annually. Mr. Hoffman looked uncomfortable. There would be some remaining equity, yes. How much? Approximately $400,000 after all fees and closing costs. I did the math in my head. That meant over $400,000 would disappear. Into what? Fees? Or into someone else's pocket? I looked at Marcus. Really looked at him. My son was sweating. His eyes kept darting to Vanessa. Marcus, I said quietly, step outside with me. Dad, we should really. Now. My tone must have triggered something in him. Some old childhood instinct, because he followed me onto the porch. Dorothy was still sitting on the steps, rocking slightly. I closed the door behind us and kept my voice low. What's really going on? I told you. Mom called me last week, said she was worried about the house. The roof needs work, the AC is old, you're not getting any younger. Your mother loves this house. We raised you here. We were planning to die here. Marcus's jaw tightened. Well, maybe that's the problem. You're being stubborn and refusing to see reality. People your age need support. They need... Who needs the money, Marcus? He blinked. What? $400,000. Who needs it? Nobody needs it. It's about making sure you're taken care of. Is it Vanessa's business? His face flushed red. Don't bring Vanessa into this. The boutique gym franchise she's been talking about for 2 years? The one that needs a $300,000 investment? That's none of your business. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. You're trying to sell my house out from under me, and you're telling me it's none of my business? We're not selling it out from under you. We're helping you transition to a safer living situation. By lying to your mother until she's crying on the porch? Marcus's mouth opened and closed. He looked back at the door, then at Dorothy, then at me. She's being emotional. She doesn't understand the financial realities. Did you bring that consultant here without asking us first? Silence. Did you tell your mother to sign something? More silence. I felt the ice in my chest spread to my limbs. Get out of my house. Dad, take your wife and your consultant and get out of my house. Now. You're not thinking clearly. I stepped closer to him. I'm not a tall man, but I spent 26 years in the military, and I know how to make myself heard. You have 30 seconds to get them out of my house before I call the police and report a trespassing financial consultant who tried to coerce my wife into signing away our property. Marcus's face went from red to white. You wouldn't. 25 seconds. He went inside. I heard urgent, hushed voices. Then Vanessa's voice, shrill. He can't just kick us out. We're family. Marcus said something I couldn't hear. Mr. Hoffman appeared first, clutching his portfolio, avoiding eye contact as he hurried past me to a silver BMW parked down the street. Vanessa came next, her face twisted with rage. This is ridiculous, she hissed at me. We're trying to help you, and you're acting like we're criminals. How much do you owe? I asked her. She stopped. Excuse me? Gambling debts. How much? Her face went pale. Marcus appeared behind her, grabbed her arm. Let's go. They left. I watched their Tesla pull out of the driveway and disappear down the street. Then I sat down next to Dorothy on the steps. She was still crying, but softer now. I put my arm around her, and she collapsed against my shoulder. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. She called me 3 days ago and said they were coming over to discuss our future. I thought it was just family talk. Then she started showing me brochures and talking about how scared she was that something might happen to us and Marcus would be devastated. And the consultant was there. And she kept saying, just initial here, just to show you're interested. And I didn't know what to do. I told her I needed to talk to you first. But she said you'd already agreed, and I never agreed to anything. I know that now. But she was so insistent, and Marcus just kept nodding, and I felt so confused. Finally, I told them no, absolutely not. I wouldn't sign anything. And Vanessa got angry. She said I was being selfish. She said we were ruining Marcus's life by refusing to be realistic about our age and health. She said Dorothy's voice broke. She said if we really loved our son, we'd make this easier on him. I held her tighter. My mind was racing through everything that had just happened, everything Vanessa had said, the way Marcus had looked. My son, my own son, had stood there while his wife verbally abused his mother. How many times have they been here? I asked. This is the 3rd time this week. The first time was just Vanessa. She brought lunch and said she wanted to talk about estate planning. The second time, Marcus came too. They brought more brochures. Today was the consultant. Did you sign anything? No. I swear, Edward, I didn't sign anything. But she took pictures of our mortgage documents. She said it was to run the numbers. I pulled out my phone and called our bank. It took 15 minutes to get through to someone who could access our accounts. When I asked if there had been any unusual activity, any attempts to add authorized signers or make changes to our accounts, the representative checked and said no, everything was secure. But then she said something that made my blood run cold. Although I do see here that you requested information about your available home equity line of credit 3 days ago, I never requested that. A pause. It shows here that the request came from a phone call to our customer service line, using your wife's maiden name as verification. Dorothy's maiden name, which Marcus would know, which Vanessa would have asked about, casually, during one of her planning visits. I thanked the representative and hung up. Then I called our attorney, Bill Morrison. Bill and I had served together in the Army 30 years ago. He was now a successful estate planning lawyer in Phoenix. Bill, I said when he answered, I need you to do something for me. Today. What's wrong? I told him everything. When I finished, there was a long silence. Jesus, Edward, your own son? Can you help? I'll draw up a document protecting your assets. A trust might be the best option. It'll make sure no one can manipulate you into signing anything away without multiple safeguards. I can have it ready tomorrow. But Edward, if they've already tried to access your home equity, what should I do? Document everything. Every conversation. Every visit. If they come back, record it. Arizona is a one-party consent state, so you can legally record conversations you're part of. And Edward, you might want to consider getting adult protective services involved. That's for people being abused. Financial exploitation is abuse. What they're trying to do, pressuring your wife, bringing in consultants without your knowledge, attempting to access your financial information, that's textbook elder financial abuse. I'd never thought of myself as an elder. I still did 50 push-ups every morning. I volunteered 20 hours a week. Dorothy and I had just gone hiking in Sedona last month. But legally, at 64, I qualified. And what my son was attempting qualified as abuse. I'll think about it, I told Bill. Don't think too long. People like this escalate when they don't get what they want. He was right. That night, Dorothy and I sat at our kitchen table and had the hardest conversation of our marriage. We talked about what we'd seen in Marcus over the past year, the expensive car he'd bought, the way he'd stopped talking about his job, the tension whenever Vanessa was around. The way she dominated every family gathering, always talking about her business plans and investment opportunities. We talked about how Marcus had changed after he married her, how he'd pulled away from us, missed holidays, stopped calling. We'd blamed ourselves, thought maybe we'd been too overbearing as parents. Now we wondered if it had been something else. If Vanessa had been isolating him the way abusers do, cutting him off from his family so she could control him better. What are we going to do? Dorothy asked. I took her hand. We're going to protect ourselves. And then we're going to try to help our son. The next morning, I drove to Bill's office and signed the trust documents. Our house, our retirement accounts, our savings, everything was now protected in an irrevocable trust, with Bill as the trustee. We could still live in the house, still access our money, but no one could force us to sign it away. Then I went to the bank and had them flag our accounts with additional security measures. Any attempt to access information, add signers, or make major transactions would require an in-person visit with photo ID. Finally, I stopped at an electronics store and bought a small recording device, just in case. I got home around 2 in the afternoon. Dorothy was in the kitchen, and she looked scared. They've been calling, she said, holding up her phone. Vanessa called 4 times, then Marcus, then Vanessa again. She left a voicemail. I played the voicemail on speaker. Vanessa's voice dripped with fake concern. Dorothy, honey, I'm so sorry about yesterday. We got off on the wrong foot. I think there was some miscommunication, and I want to clear the air. Marcus and I are going to stop by tonight around 7. We'll bring dinner. Please don't tell Edward he was so upset yesterday, and I think it would be better if we talked to you first, just us girls. We can explain everything properly. See you tonight. Dorothy's hand was shaking. She wants me to lie to you. We're not lying to anyone. I pulled out the recording device and showed her how to turn it on. If they come tonight, we're recording everything. Edward, I don't know if they tried to steal our house, Dorothy. They lied to you. They attempted to access our financial information. This is beyond family drama. This is fraud. She nodded slowly. What do we do when they get here? We let them talk. We see what they're really after, and we make sure we have evidence. At 6:47 p.m., Marcus's Tesla pulled into our driveway. I'd positioned myself in the den, where I could hear the living room but wouldn't be immediately visible. Dorothy answered the door. Hi, sweetheart, Marcus said. I heard the sound of bags rustling. We brought Thai food. Your favorite from that place on Camelback. Where's Edward? Vanessa's voice. He's at the Veterans Center, Dorothy lied smoothly. He'll be home around 9. Good, I told her to say that. They settled in the living room. I heard plates clattering, the sound of takeout containers being opened, small talk about the weather. Then Vanessa's voice turned serious. Dorothy, I want to apologize for yesterday. I think Edward misunderstood our intentions, and things got heated. Marcus and I have been losing sleep over this. We're so worried about you two. Worried about what? Dorothy asked. Your future. Your safety. Mom, you're at an age where things can change so quickly. What if Edward has a heart attack? What if you fall and break your hip? This house is full of stairs. The bathroom doesn't have grab bars. There's no emergency system in place. If something happened, you could be lying there for hours before anyone found you. We have phones. We have neighbors. But wouldn't you feel safer knowing there was professional medical staff just down the hall? Knowing that meals were prepared for you? That you didn't have to worry about maintaining this big house? I like maintaining our house, Dorothy said quietly. This is our home. Of course it is, Marcus chimed in. And we're not trying to take that away from you. We just want to make sure you have options. Good options, before you're forced into bad ones. What does that mean? It means, Vanessa said, and I could hear her voice hardening, that if Edward has a stroke tomorrow, you'll be making decisions while you're terrified and overwhelmed. You'll end up in whatever facility has an opening, spending down your assets on lawyer fees and medical bills. But if you make the decision now, while you're healthy, you can choose the best place. And the money from the house can be invested properly, instead of just sitting there. Our money is already invested. In what? A savings account earning 1% interest? Dorothy, Marcus, and I have an opportunity right now, a real opportunity to help you and to help ourselves. There's a fitness franchise available in Tempe. It requires a $300,000 investment, but the projected returns are incredible, 15 to 20% annually. If we could just access some of the equity in this house. So that's what this is about, Dorothy said. You want our money for Vanessa's business. It's not like that, Marcus said quickly. We're not asking you to give us the money. We're asking you to let us invest it wisely. You'd still have access to everything. We'd just be managing it better. And in exchange, we'd make sure you were taken care of. I'd heard enough. I stood up and walked into the living room. Taken care of how? I asked. Marcus jumped. Vanessa's face went rigid. They both stared at me like I was a ghost. Dad, Dorothy said you were. At the Veterans Center. I know what she said. I sat down in my armchair, the recording device hidden in my pocket still running. Keep talking. I want to hear about this investment opportunity. Vanessa recovered first. She was good at this, I realized. Good at manipulation, good at reading a room and adjusting her approach. She smiled at me, that same condescending smile she'd used yesterday. Edward, I'm glad you're here. This concerns you too. Marcus and I have been researching senior living options for a $300,000 fitness franchise investment. Her smile faltered. That's separate. We're discussing two different things. No, you're not. You want us to sell our house so you can take the equity and invest it in a business that'll probably fail within 18 months, like every other business idea you've had. Marcus stood up. Dad, that's not fair. Isn't it? The online boutique that closed after 6 months? The catering company that never got off the ground? The life coaching certification she never finished? Those were learning experiences, Vanessa snapped. This is different. Because this time you're using our money instead of yours? We don't have any money. Vanessa's mask cracked. Marcus's salary barely covers our mortgage. We're drowning in debt, and you're sitting here in this huge house with all this equity doing nothing with it. Vanessa, Marcus said quietly, but she ignored him. You're being selfish. You have more than you need, and you won't help your own son. What kind of parents are you? The kind who worked for 40 years to pay off this house, I said. The kind who sacrificed to send our son to college. The kind who deserve to keep what we earned. You're going to lose it all anyway. Do you know how much nursing homes cost? They'll take everything, every penny. Your house, your savings, your retirement. At least this way, the money stays in the family. Get out, Dorothy said. We all turned to look at her. She was standing now, her hands clenched into fists. Get out of my house. Both of you. Mom, Marcus started, but Dorothy cut him off. You stood there and let her talk to your father like that. You stood there while she tried to trick me into signing away our home. Your father and I raised you better than this, Marcus. I don't know what happened to you, but I don't recognize you anymore. Marcus's face crumpled. For a moment, he looked like the little boy who used to cry when he disappointed us. I'm just trying to fix things. We're in trouble, Mom. Real trouble. Vanessa has debts I didn't know about. Gambling debts. If we don't pay them back, that's not our problem, I said. They're threatening us, Marcus whispered. These people she owes money to, they're not just credit card companies. They're dangerous. They came to our house. They said if we don't pay by the end of the month, then you call the police, Dorothy said. We can't. Vanessa signed a contract with them. Some kind of private loan thing. If we go to the police, they'll prosecute her. She could go to jail. Maybe she should, I said. Vanessa lunged at me. Marcus caught her, held her back. She was screaming now, calling me names I won't repeat. Dorothy was crying again. And my son, my only son, was trying to hold together a woman who'd manipulated him into attempting to steal from his own parents. I called the police. They arrived 10 minutes later. By then, Vanessa had destroyed one of our lamps and kicked a hole in the drywall. Marcus just sat on the couch with his head in his hands, looking broken. I showed the officers the recording. I explained the situation. They took statements from all of us. The older officer, a woman named Rodriguez, took me aside. You need to file a report with Adult Protective Services. What they attempted bringing in that consultant, trying to access your financial information, pressuring your wife, that's elder financial exploitation. It's a felony in Arizona. He's my son. I know. But this won't stop here. People like your daughter-in-law, they escalate. Next time, it might be forged signatures. Identity theft, draining your accounts. You need a protective order, at minimum. I looked over at Marcus. He was 38 years old, but he looked ancient, defeated. Can I talk to him? I asked Rodriguez. She nodded. I sat down next to my son. Vanessa was in the kitchen with the other officer, still furious. Dorothy had gone upstairs. Marcus, I said quietly, how much does she owe? He took a shaky breath. $230,000. I felt like I'd been punched. To who? Some gambling website at first. Then she took loans from these private lenders to cover the gambling debts. The interest keeps compounding. They're charging her 40%. She can't pay it back. We've been using cash advances on credit cards just to make the minimum payments. Our credit is destroyed. I took a second mortgage on the house without telling her. It's not enough. Nothing's enough. Why didn't you come to us? Why didn't you just ask for help? Because I was ashamed. His voice broke. Because I'm 38 years old and I can't control my own wife. Because I knew what you'd say about her. Because I thought if I could just fix it myself, if I could get you to sell the house, and we could invest the money and make it back. That was never going to work. I know that now, but she kept saying it would. She had all these plans, all these promises. She said the fitness franchise was guaranteed income. She said we'd pay you back with interest. She said he laughed bitterly. She said a lot of things. What are you going to do? He looked at me with red, exhausted eyes. I don't know, Dad. I honestly don't know. Officer Rodriguez came back over. Sir, we need to take your daughter-in-law down to the station. She's being charged with criminal damage and disorderly conduct. Your son is free to go, but we'll need him to come in tomorrow to give a formal statement. Marcus stood up, like he weighed 1,000 pounds. I'm sorry, he said to me. For all of it. I'm so sorry. Then they left. Vanessa screaming threats from the back of the police car. Marcus following in his Tesla, looking like a man driving to his own funeral. Dorothy came back downstairs. We sat together in the living room, surrounded by the destruction, not speaking for a long time. Finally, she said, What do we do now? We file the report, I said. We protect ourselves. And we let Marcus figure out his own life. He's our son. I know, but we can't save him from this. He has to save himself. The next morning, we went to the Adult Protective Services office. We filed a formal report. We provided the recordings, the statements, the evidence of attempted financial exploitation. The caseworker, a tired-looking woman named Janet, listened to everything and then said what I already knew. "This is going to tear your family apart." "It's already torn apart," Dorothy said. Janet nodded. "You'd be surprised how common this is. Adult children trying to access their parents' assets. Sometimes it's desperation, sometimes it's greed, sometimes it's a combination. But it always ends badly." "What happens now?" I asked. "We investigate. We interview Marcus, Vanessa, the consultant they brought in. We check for other potential victims. If we find sufficient evidence of attempted financial exploitation, the district attorney can prosecute." "Prison?" Dorothy asked quietly. "Possibly. For your daughter-in-law, probably. For your son, depends on his level of involvement. If he was being coerced or manipulated, he might avoid criminal charges. But there will be consequences." There were. Vanessa was prosecuted for attempted elder financial exploitation, criminal damage, and fraud. She pled guilty and got 3 years in prison and 5 years probation. Her gambling creditors sued her, got a judgment, and she declared bankruptcy. Marcus divorced her while she was in prison. He lost their house, lost his car, moved into a 1-bedroom apartment in Mesa, and got a second job delivering food at night to pay off the debts she'd left him with. He didn't call us for 8 months. When he finally did, it was Christmas Eve. Dorothy answered the phone. I could hear his voice from across the room, broken and small. "Mom, it's me." She started crying. I took the phone. "Son," I said. "Dad, I don't know what to say. I know I have no right to call. I know what I did. But it's Christmas, and I just wanted to hear your voices. I wanted to tell you I'm sorry. Really sorry. Not because I got caught, but because I hurt you. Because I chose her over you. Because I was weak." I looked at Dorothy. She was nodding, tears streaming down her face. "Where are you?" I asked. "My apartment. It's fine. It's small, but it's fine." "Come home," I said. "Dad, I can't. I don't deserve." "Come home, Marcus. It's Christmas Eve." There was a long silence, then, Okay, I'll be there in an hour." He came. He looked terrible. He'd lost weight, aged 10 years. But when Dorothy opened the door, he collapsed into her arms and sobbed like a child. We didn't talk about what had happened. Not that night. We just sat together, the 3 of us, and ate the dinner Dorothy had prepared. We opened small presents. We watched the snow fall outside our window, a rare phoenix snow, like a gift. Later, after Marcus had fallen asleep on our couch, Dorothy and I stood in our bedroom window looking down at our son. "Did we do the right thing?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "We protected ourselves. We made him face consequences. And we left the door open for him to come back when he was ready. He lost everything. He lost everything that was built on lies. Now he can rebuild with truth. It's been 3 years since that night. Marcus still lives in his small apartment. He's still paying off debts. But he comes to dinner every Sunday. He goes to therapy. He's rebuilt his relationship with his sister Emily, who'd cut him off when she learned what he'd tried to do. Last month, he told us he'd been promoted at work. He's dating someone new, a teacher named Rebecca who seems kind and genuine. He's learning to be the man we raised him to be. But the trust isn't fully back. Maybe it never will be. Dorothy still flinches sometimes when he reaches for his wallet, like she's expecting him to pull out papers for us to sign. I still monitor our accounts obsessively, just in case. The scars from what he tried to do, from what we lost, those scars are permanent. But we survived. Our marriage survived. Our sense of security survived. And slowly, carefully, our relationship with our son is surviving too. That's what I want people to understand. When your own family tries to exploit you, when the people you trust most in the world betray you, it doesn't just hurt financially. It breaks something fundamental. It makes you question everything. But you can survive it. You can protect yourself and still leave room for forgiveness. You can be strong and still be compassionate. You just have to know the difference between helping someone and enabling them, between forgiveness and foolishness. Dorothy and I learned that the hard way. I hope by sharing this, maybe someone else won't have to.